Hello. Welcome to a novel console. Today we're talking about video games, and I have Josh from Still Loading with me. Josh, how are you doing, man?
Doing fine and fantastic. Been a busy day. Been a weird week on a personal level, but nothing I need to go into here. But I'm doing fine and fantastic. Other than the weird week. How about yourself?
I feel like I've been existing since November because work has been dead since mid-November. So I've just been doing like maybe 20 minutes of work every single day, and then the rest of the day
I love that.
I'm just like scrolling or reading something. I've been trying to play video games, but people like to barge into my office without knocking, so it would be pretty bad if like the IT supervisor would walk in and be like, "Why are you on a 3DS?" But
And you respond, "Why aren't you on a 3DS? Do you
exactly,
want a street pass?"
exactly. So it's been like, what am I doing? I could be home right now. Like the work that I've been doing, I could be doing at home. So
Hmm.
but yeah, other than that, everything's pretty fine, I guess. Apart from the world being on fire, but that's
What are
a
you talking about? Everything's fine.
sure.
We don't have an insane president, and
Oh
it's great.
man, we don't have Nazis walking all over the streets. It's great.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've not seen something. Anyway, that was a bad joke. That was a bad pun.
Yeah,
I was trying to work a pun in
no,
there.
no, but dude, that scrolling. Yeah, I've had to just like force myself to put my phone down because it's just doom and gloom and everything's horrible. But hey, what's not horrible is Ratchet and Clank because it was released in 2002. It is a third-person shooter platform video game that was developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 2 in
Hmm.
2002. It is the first installment in the Ratchet and Clank series, as well as the first game developed by Insomniac, not to be owned by Universal Interactive. And that was all straight from Wikipedia. And I love that they summarized it so perfectly because I would have done a terrible job trying to come up with all that if I just got like the dates and stuff. I sent you a list of games that I want to get through this year.
Hmm.
It's 100 and something games, and you immediately said Ratchet and Clank because it is one of your favorite games ever. Tell me about that.
It is my favorite series, period. Out of
Okay.
all video games, this is the series that I continue to gravitate to year after year. And it's a shame that I have not covered more of it on my own show. I've only really covered two Ratchet and Clank games on my own show, bizarrely enough, which is something I need to rectify. But yes, I adore this series. This first game I actually played because I was asked to guest on a different show last year. That fell through. Like just that other host's life got a little chaotic, so they kind of put our episode on the back burner. But I had replayed Ratchet and Clank last year, and man, I was it. There's definitely it's definitely a little rough around the edges, but especially once you see what literally the very next game does to like add quality of life improvements and stuff like that. But man, I still really enjoyed my playthrough of this again. I this first game, while it is not necessarily 100% indicative of the rest of the series, it is such a great framework for what the series was becoming and became. Like the series hasn't changed all that much from this, but the changes they have made, it's noticeable. But I'll save all that as we get into the more details with the game.
So when did you play this game for the first time?
That's a good question. I don't remember exactly when. It was definitely when it was contemporary. I had it on my PS2. I remember renting it from Blockbuster and liking it well enough. But one of my friends, Tristan, who's been on my podcast a few times, he for a little while, Tristan, I kind of described him as like the architect of my gaming tastes, because a lot of the games that I fell in love with, he also, like, I would play it a little bit and be like, ah, it's fine. And then Tristan would play it and get really into it. I'm like, oh, what? You know what? You're right. And this is really good. And then it would become something I would really get like latch on to. And it was weird. Like it's almost like I felt like looking back on it now, I couldn't form my own opinion on what I liked and didn't like. So I would just latch on to different people, like other people that I thought were cool. I'm like, well, I'm going to like what they like. And Tristan was one of those people. My buddy Justin was like that for music, but that's another story for another day. Tristan was definitely that for video games. Like Uncharted, same thing. Like I was really into the first time I played Uncharted, I'm like, yeah, it's fine, it's a decent game. And then Tristan got into Uncharted, I'm like, oh shit, this game's great, I love Uncharted. And it was kind of like that for a bunch of other games too. Call of Duty, Minecraft, like stuff like that. It was like something that I might have bounced off initially, and then Tristan got into it. I'm like, oh, I see the point now, and then it just kind of went from there. But I give him credit for it because it helped me realize like what I actually like and don't like, and now I actually can have a little bit of a basis of what my actual gaming tastes are. So this game kind of I equate with that time in my life of just putting out feelers everywhere of trying to figure out what games I like and don't like. And Ratchet and Clank is something that I rented from Blockbuster, thought it was okay. Tristan played it while we rented it from Blockbuster. He liked it so much, he went onto eBay and bought the PS2 and bought pre-owned copies of the existing Ratchet and Clank games. And then when I saw him playing it, I became obsessed with it because when he showed me what the other Ratchet and Clank games were, I just thought it was like the coolest thing. And so then I went back, played this, and I've been in love with the series ever since.
That's pretty cool. Finding a game that you tried and you were like, it's fine. And then somebody else is like, no, actually look at it. And you're like, oh shit, this is actually really good. Um,
I honestly feel like, you ever see those clips of like Bill Burr doing like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Like when he does those, that was like, to me in my mind, like looking back on it, that was like my inner reaction of like, I never thought about it that way. And just being a real dummy and not like allowing myself to like be into different things. I don't know. It's something that I've always struggled with, of like kind of figure out my own taste, or also allowing like other people to give me recommendations. Like once I've become set in like my own, like once I feel like, oh no, I know this now, like I found my niche, I know what I'm into. And this is with all types of media, whether it's movies, whether it's music, whether it's video games, all types of media, I still have a hard time taking recommendations, and it's something I want to work on. I've actually tinkered with the idea for my own show of like asking a podcasting friend, like, what's a game you think I would like, and then I'll cover it on the show, type of thing.
kind of
So
like
I haven't done that yet. I don't have time yet, but yeah.
kind of like what's it called? Jared's podcast, where he does Get Wrecked.
Get wrecked. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. That would be cool. I thought about that, man, but I take too many recommendations, specifically from the people on Discord. And right now, if you look at my to be read list of comic books, it is eternal. I'm never gonna be able to read everything. That Burger Champ is like, oh, read this. This is awesome. Or like games that you saw my playlist for this year. It's 100 something games. It's insane.
Yeah. Man, and I feel you on that. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because I know I will. So I want to try to keep the show on the tracks a little bit, but I understand that thing. My to be read list now. In the last year I've gotten back into reading, like actually reading books. And I'm not. That's not a dig at comic books. I think reading comic books is reading. I'm not trying to sound shitty like that. Just clarifying. But I've been really into fantasy stuff, so I started reading the Wheel of Time books, and I've been completely hooked on that. And now I'm actually, I just finished the fourth one literally last night, and I started reading today a Chronicles of Narnia book, Prince Caspian. So it's been fun getting.
You're like reading.
I'm like getting into the Narnia books are for kids. Like I've already read like 40 some odd pages just today, and I'm slow as shit with reading. So, but anyway, I understand what you're saying about having a long list of like recommendations and to be played, read, listened,
Yeah,
whatever, what have you.
yeah.
So I feel you on that.
Um, so getting back to Ratchet and Clank, I don't remember when it was the first time I played the original Ratchet and Clank. I think I played Size Matters when I was in
The PSP
college.
game, which
Yes.
also was ported to PS2. I don't know
Yeah.
which version you
The
played.
the PSP version, because I when I was in
Mm.
college, I had a PSP. I had some funds, and games were super cheap, so I just picked up like 5 PSP games a week because they were insanely cheap back then.
Mm.
And that was one of them. And I thought it was pretty good. I don't remember if that one was one of the ones where weapons level up as you use them.
I would assume so. It's been a minute since I've played it. I have played it, but it's been a while since I have, and I think it would be. That game is really impressive considering it only has one joystick when you play it on the
Yeah.
PSP.
Yeah.
It controls remarkably well,
Hmm.
all things considered, for that. So it's still not as good as the console games, mainly just because of the control issue. But for pairing it, like making a game exclusively or like designed for the PSP, they did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
I,
It's a fun
I
game.
remember liking it, and I think they put it on the PS5 retro game thing, and I think I have
Oh,
it
okay.
downloaded onto the PS5 because I plan on playing it someday. If not, I have it on the Steam Deck. Um,
Hmm.
so I played that one. Uh, I played Rift in Time, the new one, Rift Apart.
Rift Apart. Hmm.
Yes, fantastic. Fucking
Yeah.
loved it. It was so good.
So good.
And I think I played 2016. Um, for
Which is also really good.
for some reason that one didn't stick, but I think it didn't stick because it was when they gave it away for free with the PSN games of the month. And I think I had
Mm.
other stuff that I was playing. So that I know I didn't pay for that game. I got that game for free. So I'm not 100% sure if that was one of the PSN games
Hmm.
or somehow it magically appeared in my inventory. But um, I beat the original Ratchet and Clank a couple of years ago on the PS Vita. Don't do that. Do not play
Yeah.
it on the Vita. It runs well. It looks well. The Vita is insanely uncomfortable to play on. I
Yes.
have no idea how I beat it. I remember having a horrible time with the game, and I was kind of dreading replaying it. But I replayed it on the Steam Deck. You have save states. You have retro achievements, so you can get achievements for basically doing everything, which is great.
Hmm.
And I had an amazing time. I think I did like the first 2 levels, and I told my wife, "This is fucking amazing. Why was I dreading this?" And as I kept playing, it just kept getting better and better. And I think uh, listeners know that I am not a Naughty Dog fan. I am not. I don't think their games are as good as people say they are. I think the best game they've ever done where they finally figured their shit out was Uncharted 4. Um, I remember playing Jack 2, beating it, and having the worst time of my life because the
That
checkpoints,
game is
checkpoint,
very
yeah,
brutal. That is one of the most unfair games. I think I don't know how I even beat it as a kid. It's
it's
so
bad. It's
ridiculously
insane.
unfair.
The checkpoints I remember being horrible, and the one that I remember being the worst was the one where you had to grind on the hoverboard up a tower on rails, and if you
Yeah.
fell, you had to start all the way from the bottom. Ratchet and Clank has way better uh, checkpointing system. I think one of the checkpoints where I was like, okay, this is a little bit of bullshit. Let me use a save state was one where you're swimming and you have like this long corridor that you have to do in like 2 minutes before the water electrifies itself. And even then, I was like, this is definitely a whole lot more doable than Jack 2. Uh,
That and like it's the checkpoint is right before you start. So it's like of
right.
course it's a tough challenge, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't give you like if you save state in the middle of that, I almost think that makes it harder in some instances because like you have no time to breathe in that section.
Yeah.
So the fact that you decided to save state midway through means every time you start over, you're just like you're in mid sprint already. Like you're starting the race in mid sprint, which is
Right.
kind of crazy.
Jack 2 was released on October 14th, 2003. So a game a year earlier. A game earlier has a better checkpointing system than one later. And I was
In
reading.
Jack 2's defense, and I'm not saying, I shouldn't say defense, because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's a ridiculously difficult game, but it is an open world game. So their checkpointing is. But with that said, their checkpointing is bad even within the individual smaller level missions. Where like when you go to the outer areas of the city and you do the individual challenges, the individual like mission things outside the city. Yes, even that's really rough. But I almost wonder if, I don't know. My guess is they just didn't play test enough. But yes, you are right. This game is significantly more fair in a lot of ways.
And I was reading some stuff about the game because I got like really interested in some of it, and it there was during that time period, PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, Naughty Dog, Insomniac, and I think Sucker Punch shared a lot of development details. They were in constant communication, and you can see a bunch of like their little I don't want to say development tricks, but development tricks in each game. Like they all somewhat feel a little bit similar, even though they're different. And I'm surprised that they didn't share make your checkpoints fair with Jack 2, because holy shit.
The I really love this era of game history, specifically of PS2, because it feels like at the time there was three big, not they weren't in house because Naughty Dog might have been owned by Sony then, but I know for a fact Insomniac, excuse me, was not. They didn't get bought out by Sony until like 2018, 2017, somewhere around there. It was within the last like decade that Insomniac came officially under Sony's umbrella. But like they had made Sony exclusive games for a while, because they did obviously Spyro before that. They did Disruptor before that. It was Disruptor, which was like a Doom clone, and then the Spyro series, the Spyro trilogy on the PS1, then the Ratchet and Clank quadrology on the PS2, because there's 1, 2, 3, and then Deadlocked on the PS2, and then they continued to make it for PS3, where they both made Ratchet and Clank games and the why am I blanking on the name of it? It's Resistance, the Resistance games. On PS3.
Resistance.
Yes. But like, if I love this era because it felt like there was like 3 Sony platformers that were just like phenomenal. You had Ratchet and Clank, you had Jak and Daxter for all its warts. It has a lot of fans, whether you like it or not. It was popular, right? And then Sly Cooper, Insomniac with Sly, Naughty Dog with Jak, and then not Insomniac with Sly, I'm sorry. Sucker Punch with Sly, Insomniac with Ratchet, and then Naughty Dog with Jak. And all 3 of those devs would go on to make continuously bigger, crazy things on PlayStation consoles. Like Sucker Punch does Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, Insomniac, besides still making Ratchet and Clank on and off, they do the Spider-Man games. And then Naughty Dog is Naughty Dog. They're still considered like the prestige developer for I know you're not a fan of their stuff, but just from public consensus.
Yeah.
Public opinion, not consensus, public opinion.
I understand where people come from, when they say, "Oh, Naughty Dog is so good, they make good games," but they're not at the level that people. To me, they're not at that level.
I will say, as a Naughty Dog fan, you're not 100% wrong. Like I love Uncharted. Gameplay is kind of basic. Gameplay is pretty straightforward, and it doesn't. Where they kind of have for the last decade, for the last like nearly 20 years at this point, since Uncharted 1, they have pretty much made their name off of visuals and storytelling. The gameplay has always kind of been fine to good, like good to great, I would say. I know you're not a fan of Last of Us, or I'm not going to be here to defend the game or litigate it. I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot better than you give it credit for. But to each their own. Everyone has their own feelings on it. But with that said, even my own criticism of, as much as I love the story of Last of Us, the gameplay, it's a really solid stealth based, like with resource gathering, third person action shooter type of thing. But I wouldn't say it necessarily like reinvents the wheel.
No, no.
It's just very, very what they make gameplay formulas that are extremely solid, and they stick to it. Insomniac's weird because like Ratchet and Clank, like their formula stays really consistent throughout the entire series. Like I can't, but for some reason, because their formula is it's so fluid in the sense, like, because just by popping in different guns, it completely changes the dynamic of each game that you play. Because it's not like you get the same guns in every single game. Because the guns change every single game, it kind of gives you a different flavor, even if there is like minute differences in terms of the mechanics themselves. And I think it's interesting how that works. And it's cool about like with Ratchet and Clank 1 is so much of the game series formula was set in this game, right? The sense of humor is there, not nearly as like funny as it gets later on, but you see the seeds being planted of what their sense of humor for the series is going to be. By the third, like if you haven't played the third game, which is called Up Your Arsenal, by the way, great name. One of the funniest fucking games I've ever played. Like there's genuinely some like phenomenal jokes in that game. And also even in like the PS3 titles, a lot of great joke writing. Shout out to Jim Ward. Actually, rest in peace, because Jim Ward is the voice of Captain Quark. He passed away a month ago or so, 2 months ago. So I wanted to shout him out, but like, this is his first appearance in the series. Obviously, he's Captain Quark in this game. But yeah, so like this game, it sets the groundwork for the weapon system. It sets the groundwork for the kind of like how the worlds are each level and how it's structured. Because a lot of what's interesting is like there's been a lot of quality of life improvements as the series goes on, and it's not really until, from what I remember, 2013's Into the Nexus, where they kind of, it's still the same formula, but like the level design changes up more drastically than what you're used to in the previous entries. What Ratchet and Clank 1 is just interesting because it's so much of it is set in there, and then the very next game, Going Commando, great name too, is so different. And it's such a, not so different, excuse me. It is, to me, that is where the series solidifies its formula. And I know you have the other Ratchet and Clank games on the list, so I'm going to spare all my thoughts about 2. But 1 is interesting because you can see the groundwork, but then like 1 is the framing, and then 2 is like, okay, let's finish the building, and we have this complete package now. But like 1, it sets everything up, and it holds up surprisingly well.
Where was I going to start with this? Where do I want to start?
I went a lot of places. I started with talking about Naughty Dog. Sorry, go on.
Okay. To put Naughty Dog to bed, to put it down permanently until I cover the Uncharted games, which are on the list. I think their character writing is really good. I think they know how to write a character.
Mm-hmm.
Their stories, it's been done before. Uncharted,
especially Uncharted.
Very, yeah. It was Indiana Jones, it was Tomb Raider, then it was Uncharted, and then Tomb Raider came out, the reboot, and it did it better. But their characters, they know how to write characters. The Last of Us, I really hate the characters, but I don't know if that's because they're designed to make you hate them.
I think they're designed to make you hate them. You're not meant to like. You're not meant to like the decisions they make. You're meant to understand why they made them, even if you disagree with them.
I can see that. The gameplay of the first Last of Us, even the remake, no. The second Last of Us, I absolutely loved it. I think they finally figured it out. They figured out the gameplay. They figured out the story, as much as people hate Abby and what she does and all of that.
She's a good character.
She's great. I think she's a great character. She's miles above and beyond what Ellie is. I despise Ellie. Ellie, to me, is one of the worst characters, period. Oh man.
Some spiciness. Some
Um.
spiciness.
Uh. But in Uncharted 4, putting Troy Baker and Nolan North as brothers was just a fucking brilliant idea. They're together, they
Did
are
you know
amazing.
that they are fantastic? Did you know in the original Last of Us, Nolan North has a major role in that game?
Real. Oh yeah, yeah. He's the bad guy.
He's yeah, you would never know because it's so like his voice doesn't sound like him, and it's so uncharacteristic of Nolan North as a like what you're used to him
Yeah,
in
yeah.
games. And it's phenomenal. Really great performance by Nolan North in that moment. But yeah, but no, that's fair. I hear your criticisms. I enjoy Naughty. I think they're valid. I agree. I can see where you're coming from with them.
To be fair, every single time Naughty Dog releases a game, I buy the game on release date. I play it, and then I I
Well, that's
talk
just your own
I
fault.
talk my shit. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's just plain bad. Um,
That's funny.
so that's it. Naughty Dog is going to get its flowers whenever I play Uncharted later this year. So that's
Or it's Cole, depending on how you feel.
right. um, so Ratchet and Clank. When these games came out, I was between middle school and high school. I wasn't into at that time what would it have been like SOCOM, uh maybe the first one or two Call of Duty, a Medal of Honor, a little bit. I
Hmm.
was a
Oh,
little
I
bit into
played a lot of
Medal
Medal
of
of
Honor.
Honor. I love
Frontline.
Medal of Honor.
Frontline was great. I love Frontline. I was really into Nintendo games. Dragon Ball Z games specifically were like just shoot them straight into my veins. Um,
Hmm.
I was a lot on my Game Boy. But when I had a buddy from elementary school, uh, he left to the States. He came back when I was in middle school. So I used to hang out a lot at his house, and he had a PlayStation 2, and he had, uh, Resident Evil 4 for the GameCube, Metal Gear. He had Devil May Cry, like games that solidified and made the person who I am today. Like I don't trust the government because I played Metal Gear Solid 2 when I was
Metal
when I
Gear.
was 14. So um we never looked at or touched Ratchet and Clank ever for any reason
Hmm.
I don't know why. And I'm sure that if we would have played it, we would have loved it because the game is just solid, plain, stupid fun, apart from it being funny.
I think probably also because you said you're like junior high going into high school, like is what you said, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
about the age that you were.
Mm-hmm.
That is the prime age for I'm a serious adult, even though I'm only a teenager. So I'm going to play games. So people, I'm going to participate in media that makes people know I'm serious.
Right.
Like I think there is an element of like Ratchet and Clank. You look at it and you're like, well, that's kind of more for kids, you know. Like maybe you weren't like that, but I feel like that age range it's a very typical mindset to have. Like you want to be considered more mature, so then you participate in things or or engage with things that are perceived as more mature, which the games you played were. Like I'm not trying to throw shade at Resident Evil
Devil May Cry
or Metal Gear
3.
Solid.
Have
Well,
Dante
Devil May Cry
surfing
3
on a
also is
missile.
like, well, to be fair, Devil May Cry also is like an emo teenager's wet
It is a
dream. You know,
melodrama. The
like,
whole thing is just
oh yeah, and then that
oozing.
is like that is something that teenager like dude. I one of my favorite Final Fantasies, and not to get on a tangent with it, was for a long time Final Fantasy VIII, and I genuinely think because I played it when I was an emo teenager and I got to play as an emo teenager, and Squall being all sulky. I'm like, man, he's so deep. He just gets it. And now as an adult, I'm like, what a fucking bitch.
Right.
Like, stop whining. Like, everything's a problem. Just why is everything? Just fucking fix it then. If everything's wrong, go fix it.
Right.
God damn it. It's not like you're going up against the government, which he was, but that's not the thing he was whining about. It was always like, I don't want to talk to girls. I'm like, I'm like, you got a hot teacher hitting on you. What's wrong with you?
So I think one of the issues with Ratchet and Clank is the first game looked like a kid's game. You look at the box art; it's a furry creature with a giant gun, a giant
With the
cartoon
exception of
gun.
he's like glaring at you,
Yeah,
but yeah.
yeah, a giant cartoon gun and a cutesy robot on his back. Then the second one, going commando. Unless you're, I didn't get the joke because at that point I was still developing my English. Up Your Arsenal, I got haha kind of funny. Then Deadlock came out, and if I remember correctly, Deadlock was when they were like, okay, we got to really market this towards teenagers because we got
Mm.
hardcore Ratchet now. He's in a suit of armor, he's angry, and he just wants to kill stuff like Jack 2. Um, I never played any of them until a couple of years ago when I decided to pick up the first one. And whenever I played the first one back in college, the PSP one back in college. So I should have played these games back then because, man, they are fun. This first one is just a whole lot of fun.
And they only get better from there too, man. Because like one of the things that like I love this game. I love it for what it is, but the biggest quality of life improvements that they make in the second game alone, take out upgrades, take out all the other stuff. When you're switching weapons, the game pauses. That is just such a huge quality of life upgrade. With that said, it does add a little bit of like chaotic energy to the first one. When I was playing, I'm like, you know what? As much as I hate that I had like the game doesn't pause when I'm trying to figure out which weapon to use, it does have to make me think on my feet. Where it's like, okay, I'll like survey an area first, and I'll be like, okay, what enemies do I see? Okay, I'm going to use this weapon before I go in. All right, if I run out of this ammo or this one of these things attacks me, which weapon would be best for that? So then I'd look at my weapon wheel, remember where it's at, so that way when I hit triangle to bring up the weapon wheel and switch to whichever one it is, I can just do it without actually having to pay attention to which one I'm selecting because I memorized which one it's at already. So I really like that sense of urgency as much as it is very frustrating because sometimes like you're in the middle of a chaotic battle and like you just can't, you either have to completely pause the game and then go to the weapons menu and switch it manually in there, which kind of takes you out of the whole moment of it. That's neither here nor there. But to me, like the biggest quality of life upgrade after this game is the paused weapon wheel. There's other stuff too, like they make bolts more visually easy to see on screen. In this game, they're very hard to visually identify. In other games, they have a glow around them, but in this first game, it's just scattered bolts that are very muted. They're not shining at all. You can see them it's not like it's outrageously hard, but there are a lot of times where you've probably missed a couple thousand bolts because you just could not see them.
Until you get the bolt attracting upgrade, which I feel like the bolts without the upgrade, you still get a lot of them because even if they fall off the stage, they come back up and you collect them automatically, which I think that's great for, keeping your pockets full of bolts. The weapon wheel, the only complaint that I had about the weapon wheel was that it wasn't big enough and I kept having to edit it to take the tools and
Yes.
put them in whenever I had slots for weapons that I still wanted to use. That kind of annoyed me. So you had to switch between the water thing, the one that unlocks doors, the one that the swing shot or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of annoyed me a little bit, but honestly, I used the ratchet more than I used the weapons.
It kind of almost incentivizes you to use the wrench. And in later games, you almost never use the wrench because the weapons are so easily accessible. And I will say it does make you almost pick like an economy of gadgets because the gadgets are the things that you only use sparingly.
Yeah.
The only one I kept in the wheel at all times was the swing shot because you use it in almost every level. The hydro displacer or whatever it is, you use that a little bit here and there. I forget half the others. I do like though one of my favorite weapons in this is the suck cannon. That thing's fucking awesome.
It's fun. You can use it for bolts and everything.
You can use it for bolts. Hold on, I'm actually looking up a list of all the weapons real quick because it's been no. I don't want fucking AI mode. Google, get the fuck out of here.
Um,
Excuse me.
the so one of the reasons why I used the Ratchet more was because you had the 3-hit combo, and
Uh huh.
it was spaced out enough so that you could do the 3-hit combo and basically kill everything. And every time you would hit, it would hit perfectly where the enemy was already out of their stun animation. When you use a gun, particularly like the blaster, you're just unloading onto them, and you'll probably miss 5 bullets before the next one hits and actually kills uh, the enemy. Which I'm guessing that's something they fix in the sequels by having the weapons level up and making them hit harder after they level up.
Hmm.
So that was kind of like one thing that I found really annoying. But I did really like going into areas where there were a bunch of little enemies running around, and you could just take out the flamethrower and go to town, just burn everything.
Yes, especially like those sand shark
Yes,
things or
yeah,
whatever. Like that was. I also like it. It's a staple of the game of the series. The Morpho Ray. There's always some weapon that turns the enemies into some type of creature. Like in other games, there's one where like I think it's one of like the like it might be the 2016 version of this game where it turns them into like sheep or like because there is a sheepinator in later games, but it'll like turn them into when you upgrade it, it turns them into like rams, and then if you upgrade it again, they fart rainbows, and then if you upgrade it again, the rainbows will then turn other enemies. It gives every time they fart at an enemy, it gives a chance for that enemy to turn into another ram, which then can fart rainbows and turn them into enemies. It's fucking awesome.
so
It's great.
it's so fucking good.
You can set a chain reaction of rainbow farting rams. It's great.
So good. I think in this one it was the one that turns them into chickens. I
It was just chickens,
I
yeah.
think I did get that gun. I completely forgot I had it until like the last stage. I'm like, oh, I have this gun. I haven't used it. Oh well, I'm not gonna use it. And I just kept going till the final boss.
Oh, you missed it. Yeah, you get it. You can turn them into chickens. Um, there, everything in this game it just kind of sets up a lot of things that you see later on in the series. For example, the blaster, like your kind of go-to weapon in this. There's always a version of this in every single game now. Like they're arguably better. This one I find is kind of like a little. It looks like it's just shooting ping pong balls when it's the little golden light that comes out of it. But the bomb glove and the blaster are staples of the series. Those are your main two weapons. You have kind of like a blaster type of pistol rifle like automatic weapon, and then you have a weapon that shoots explosive rounds that does AoE. Those are always the first two weapons for the most part in throughout the rest of the games in the series. Everything else too, like there's always like variations. You have the Devastator, which is your rocket launcher. There's variations of that throughout the series. The Mind Glove, there's variations of that throughout the series. Um, the Glove of Doom, you see that later on. There's then
Love
like Agents of Doom later on.
love
The Glove of
the
Doom is
glove of doom,
awesome.
and
The little laugh, like
what
and they
is
go over and
the
blow people up.
little defense field that you can use with the other. It's not the glove of doom, but it's like
Hmm.
the same little robots just floating around you.
Drone device, I want to say. Maybe not. Hold on. Is it the drone device? Yeah, I think it's a drone
That
device.
one got me out of so many problems that I get myself into.
Mm,
But the glove of doom, specifically for that one stage where you have like those roaches with like the giant like claws that stab at you, that
yes.
don't take any stagger damage. Just throw
That
the
those dudes are
oh
annoying.
yes, dude.
It's on the swamp level, right? Though that's the
Yeah,
one I'm thinking of.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where the one where you do the first part with Clank, and then when you get the O2 masks, you go back and do it with Ratchet.
Yes, 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 yes.
Man,
Um also a staple of it, a joke that keeps on giving, the rip you a new one
the Rhino.
weapon, the Rhino. Every single game has a new version of the Rhino that does some ridiculous over the top thing. Now, in this game, it's very hard to get. It's prohibitively expensive. There's ways you can
I
farm
didn't get it.
bolts to get it. There's ways you can farm bolts to get it. You want to know like a way to get it where it's kind of cheating, but you can get it. Um you remember the race course, right? The in Blackwater City. It's like there's I still remember the info bot that gets it. There's like a woman doing like a broadcast, and it's the
Yes.
slime
Yeah.
city. All the slimes are everywhere. The blah,
Yeah.
or
Where you
whatever.
do the
Um,
what is it? Skid McMarx's race. Skid
fun
McMarx,
fact.
man, that name. My wife heard it over the phone while I was playing it, and she starts laughing, and she's like, "Did they just send Skid McMarx?" Yeah.
Do you want to know? Fun fact. Do you know who voices Skid McMarks? Neil Flynn, the janitor from Scrubs,
Okay.
and also the dad
All right.
from,
I can
is it The
hear it.
Middle?
The middle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and who knows? There's a Scrubs revival coming out very soon. I don't know when this episode's dropping, but there's a new Scrubs episode coming out, a new Scrubs series coming out soon, which I'm very excited for. Um, but yeah, so yeah, Neil Flynn does the voice
Neil
of Skid
Flynn.
McMarks.
That's funny.
So I'll show it to you once the episode's over. I actually have my original copy of Ratchet and Clank, and I have it signed by David Kay, the voice actor of Clank. And I eventually want to get all the voice actors to sign my copy. I want to get Neil Flynn to sign it just because he did Skid McMarks.
He
He
probably
probably
doesn't
went in
remember.
for a
He
day.
probably doesn't
He went
remember.
in probably for a day and recorded like 20 lines, and that because he's not in it much. He doesn't have that many lines. Bro could have been in for like an hour tops on recording this shit and been done. But yeah, I'm curious. And also the voice actor for Ratchet in this is not the same in the rest of the series. The rest of the series is James Arnold Taylor, who a lot of people would know as Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Star Wars cartoons. Um,
Okay.
uh,
And
yeah,
this
James Arnold
one
Taylor is Ratchet
isn't
in the rest of the
isn't
series.
this Ratchet Titus from Final Fantasy?
No, that's James Arnold Taylor as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like you're not wrong in thinking that though, because Ratchet is James Arnold Taylor, but like in hold on, I'm gonna look up who Ratchet and Clank 2002. I'm gonna look up who is the voice of Ratchet in this game because it is different. It's not someone that you would. I don't even think the dude's got. I mean, I don't know what his career. His name is Mikey Kelly. And he's still doing voiceover work. He did work in The Outer Worlds 2 just
Okay.
last year, Grounded 2, Avowed. It's a lot of like I don't want to say minor as to be dismissive, but he's credited on IMDb, excuse me, with a lot of like additional voices and stuff like that.
I see. So he hasn't done a leading role in a bit.
Not that I've seen, but like he's done so. He did a voice in a movie called The Highwaymen. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen half of the
No
stuff.
idea.
There's a lot of stuff I have not seen. But he has some like lead roles, but I would have to play the games. Some of them are he's just credited as voice. So I don't know if that means like background
Yeah,
voices
probably.
or additional voices, or is it like a role? I don't
Right.
know. Because he's credited in some things as additional voices and in other things as just voice. So I don't know. But yep.
Something that I just remembered is do you know about the glitch in in that city where you do the first hoverboard race?
Which is what glitch?
So the lady that you have to talk to start the hoverboard race, if you stand in front of her and start doing like side jumps, her boobs start growing.
Jesus Christ.
It's ginormous. And the devs have no idea why. They didn't program it. It just happens.
Wow.
And
that's wild.
if you play with retro achievements on, it gives you an achievement for doing that.
That is so funny.
It's great. And going back to Clank, Ratchet is a dick to Clank the entire game.
Yes. Yeah. Ratchet's not a good dude, man. Like, so something that I find interesting about this, I shouldn't say he's not a good dude. He's
selfish.
Yes. And I think there's a moment in this. So I played this and obviously the remake that they did, the reimagining as they described it in 2016. And one of the things I think the reimagining is overall a better game by like leaps and bounds. It's obviously they've had it came out in 2016, so there was like 14 years of like polish that they had in making a bunch of other Ratchet games to like kind of polish their hone their craft with the series and whatnot. But something they didn't do well was actually the relationship between Ratchet and Clank, because in this game they are combative for the first half of the game until like 2/3 of the way through the game, when they kind of have their falling out, and then they kind of come back together and they kind of realize like they care about each other, they like each other, they're friends. And that's a lot stronger in this, because the first 2/3 of the game, like, they're both going along with each other because they both need each other for their own personal ends. Clank is a lot more altruistic than Ratchet, and I think that's kind of important. Like, Clank sees the bigger picture. Ratchet's just there to, because like, oh, I get to ride hoverboards. Oh, I get to like go meet Captain Quark. I get to, he's kind of not necessarily in it for the fame, but he's in it for himself. And when they have their falling out in the, in like 2/3 of the way through the game, and they go their separate ways, that's a lot. And then they come back, it means a lot more because they had a bigger falling out. Like they weren't friends, they were just kind of business partners essentially for the first 2/3 of the game. And in the remake, they're friends right off the bat. And so when they have their falling out, it just kind of feels like out of place. It's like, why are they mad at each other? And from what, it's been a minute since I played the 2016 remake, but this is just kind of from a recollection. But in the original, it's like, of course they had a falling out. Like, they don't have any emotional connection to each other yet. This game is a thing that gives them their emotional connection to each other. The events that happen in this game is what brings them together. So they have that falling out, so that way they can both realize how much the other means to them, how they've grown on each other. And in the remake, they don't really have that. It feels like the falling out just kind of comes out of nowhere almost, because they're such good buddies so quickly. And in the original, it's not the case. And I think that character development is much more earned in this original version of the game.
They do have the falling out, and then they get back together, and they're like, okay, we need to get Drek. And Ratchet is still somewhat of a dick to Clank. It's like, can you please just get over it? Just be nice, because Clank is adorable. The entire time, Clank is just great. He's I love Clank. And man, it really, I don't know if I didn't remember it from playing on the Vita, but I was very put off by Ratchet. I was like, I don't like this guy.
He's not likable in this first game for sure. Definitely not likable. And I kind of like that though. I like that he's not a 100%. It makes him interesting, right? Like it makes like him being selfish and Clank being altruistic makes him interesting. Sometimes you're not meant to like a character until they can find a way to redeem themselves, like, and I'm not saying they did it perfectly in this game. Like you were saying, he's still a dick. It's been a minute since I played this last year, so I don't 100% remember how Ratchet treats Clank after the falling out and the reconciliation. But if he's still a dick after the reconciliation, that's frustrating. But like, even so, by the second game, they're closer. The third game, they're even closer. Like, they keep building on it. The trilogy really feels like they're building on their friendship as they go along. But like, okay, when they first meet in this, of course, they're not going to get along 100%, especially Ratchet being selfish and self-absorbed.
One of the things that kind of got me at the end, and this is spoiler for a 20 plus year game. So
24 years.
Yeah, just play it. It's great. Pirate it. Sony's never going to re-release it. One of the things that got me at the end, well, actually, it got me is after you beat the bad guy and Clank saves Ratchet and his arm is broken. Ratchet's like, "Oh, your arm's broken," and then fucks off, just walks away, just leaves Clank sitting there with his broken arm. And Clank is like all dejected and sad because he risked himself and broke himself to save Ratchet. And then Ratchet's like, "What are you doing? Just follow me." I'm like, "You fucking dick! You couldn't just tell him that from the beginning." It's like, "Let's go fix your arm." Like, you're just
Mhm.
like, "Oh, you're broken," and you fuck off. Just fucking Ratchet. I did like him
Yeah, it's
in
not.
Rift Apart, but man, this game he was a tough pill to swallow.
He's not. He's not. He's not a good dude in this one, and I think once again it doesn't bother me all that much because it's like one, it's the first game in the series. They're still trying to figure out the characters. It's kind of like the first season of a TV show, especially comedy TV shows. The characters are still
Big
kind
Bang,
of being formed and everything.
dude, you should watch the first season of Big Bang and the last season and see how these characters change. It is insane.
Yeah, I believe it.
Also, Penny is a
I've
terrible person. Penny is the worst. Leonard deserved better than Penny.
I've not watched Big Bang because I refuse to. Because for an entire decade, all I ever fucking heard was like, "Oh, you like nerdy things? Do you watch The Big Bang Theory?" I'm like, "No, Sheldon's an asshole. Fuck him. I don't.
There's
I just
I have my issues with Big Bangs, particularly how they're all super into Halo. The type of nerd, the type of nerds that they are not into Halo. They are into League or Pokemon or other stuff, not Halo.
okay." I thought this was another anti. I know you're not a Halo fan, so I was like,
No,
is this going down another anti-Halo
no.
route
Like I
here?
can see Howard being super into Halo and Rosh being into super into Halo because of Howard, but Leonard and Sheldon, no, I cannot see them ever being as into Halo as they are.
Excuse me. That's fair. That's fair. I haven't watched the show. I haven't really watched the show. I see clips every now and then, but yeah, it just I don't know. I like sitcoms. I like the four cameras and the laugh tracks and all that shit. Like especially with how like serious shit is right now in the real world. Give me these non realistic bullshit. Let me watch Friends for the thousandth fucking time, uh, or whatever. But anyway, yeah, so with Ratchet, I can understand how he would rub you the wrong way, especially like he is not likable in this first game at all.
Yeah, it's just like my only other reference is Size Matters. He and Ratchet were him and Clank were cool in that game. They were buddies. Rift Apart. It's I'm guessing the latest one in the timeline. Um,
Yes.
and Ratchet is a completely different character. He's a hero. He's basically a cookie cutter
So
hero in that game. Mhm.
have you only played the original Size Matters and Rift Apart
And a little bit of the 2016, but
and a
I
little bit?
don't remember the
Okay.
2016.
Oh man, you're in like for if you will have me back on for the other
I
games,
was
you're in
going to
for a
ask you
treat.
to just come on for the rest of the series. So
Absolutely. I will take any excuse to replay these games. I will actually now I didn't replay the original for this because I just played it last year, but I do have to replay game number 2, so I will happily do that.
yeah,
Going Commander. That one's a lot of fun. It also I gotta save it. There's a lot of you will see a huge leap in quality of life and changes from the first to the second. Like I genuinely think the PS2, like honestly, the 3 games on the PS2, Deadlock's fine, but it's a slightly different formula than the rest of them. And then the
it's
3 mainline entries on the PS3, though it's going to be hard to get the middle mainline. So on the PS3, you have it's oh my gosh, why am I blanking on it? Because it's Ratchet and Clank Future is the name of the series for some reason. It's still just a Ratchet and Clank game. Tools of Destruction was the first one, and then they made a DLC like kind of mid game, like you could only get it downloadable called Quest for Booty. And I yeah, it's kind of going along with the
these naming
uh,
conventions.
and then the third game was Crack in Time. Um, uh, Ratchet and Clank for a while was going with all the innuendos. Like there is a game called Ratchet and Clank All for One, and it's kind of like
Isn't that
it's
one
kind of like
kind
you
of
know like
like the Shrek 2 game where you have like four
mm,
characters controlled by different?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yes,
remember
it's a
that one.
big
They
it's not
pushed that
bad.
one hard when it came out.
The Ratchet and Clank one or the Shrek one?
The Ratchet and Clank ones. I remember that one was
It's
pushed hard when it came out.
it's not a bad game. It's I never beat it, but it's not a bad game when I played of it. It's just hard to find, friends to play it with, because that's kind of the problem with it, is like, since it's so reliant on it being like a multiplayer type of experience, like it's kind of hard to get friends together to do it. But that game, they did not call it this because they thought it would be too on the nose. They were going to call it Ratchet and Clank Foreplay.
That's good. They should
Right?
have.
Like, right, there's some really fun. There's a bunch of great names they could have gone with. That one's Ratchet and Clank. What's interesting about it is, as the series goes on, like 1, 2, and 3, and even Deadlocked to an extent. Like, one of the things they introduced in the second game, and I don't want to go too much into it, is arenas, where it's kind of like little individual challenges that challenge your like shooting, not just your platforming, which the game kind of does platforming and shooting. This is more straight up shooting. Like, they send waves after waves of enemies, and they do different types of challenges, different enemy types, different like limitations put on you, that kind of thing.
Right.
Deadlocked
Rift
is
Apart
just
did that. They had the specific arena, and you would go
Yes.
and you would have
Okay.
like the flamethrower challenge, and you would have the
I
bomb
totally forgot
challenge.
that you played Rift Apart. Yeah, so it has a lot of those conventions. Deadlocked is just that. It's like all arena type of missions.
That doesn't
and it's not
sound bad
bad
at all. That sounds actually pretty fun. Like, just
They
mindlessly killing stuff.
They expanded just a little bit. It's still really good. Like, it's really good. But then it gets, so the first 3 are very, like, this is the Ratchet and Clank series. Ratchet Deadlocked, it's a different naming convention, hence the different game mechanic, like a different formula. And then you have Ratchet and Clank Future, which, like I said, Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, Crack in Time. That one is like the story. They start injecting a little bit more story into it. Like, the first couple Ratchet and Clank games, they're really bare bones stories. Like, they're there to serve the gameplay. It's just meant to be fun and silly. The Future series kind of takes a step at making things a little bit more serious. Like, it's still funny, but I would say it's like serious in the sense that like a Pixar movie is serious, right? Where there is some like serious plots, but still the villains might be a little goofy. The jokes are a little bit goofy. They'll throw in jokes for adults just as much for kids, stuff like that. But then in the PS3 era, they also have a handful. I think there's only 2, if I remember correctly. There's 2 games that are like the Ratchet and Clank, but they're a completely different gameplay style. There's Ratchet and Clank All for One, which we talked about, and then Ratchet and Clank. Oh gosh, why am I blanking on the name of it? It's hold on. I literally can see them all from right here. Hold on, give me just 1 second. Full Frontal Assault.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. That's a tower defense game with Ratchet. It's well, sort of. You play as Ratchet. Like, it's normal Ratchet and Clank controls. It's a third-person shooter platformer tower defense game. You walk around the map and you can put different towers down and different defenses up. But then once the waves start coming, you can then go and still attack the waves like a normal Ratchet and Clank arena shooter type of thing. So they kind of have like their own little. It's a different twist on the formula. It's really good though. Like, it's a lot of fun. My buddy and I actually, like, we were so close to platinum. Actually, sorry, he platinumed it. I have to platinum it still, and the only reason I didn't is because, like, I think we have to like win like 3 multiplayer matches a piece. So we went back and forth, and I won 2, and I never got the third one. There was like a glitch on my last one that it didn't count. I'm like, you motherfucker! So it was just frustrating. But yeah, so yeah, so that game is also filled with like early 2010s memes, like Gangnam Style dances in that game.
God.
Like it's filled with that type of humor, right? So take it for what it's worth with that. But then they do Into the Nexus, which kind of solidifies the formula that we see now with the 2016 Ratchet and Clank reimagining, and then obviously with like what I say by they solidified the new formula, because you saw it in
Rift
a Rift
apart. Yeah.
Apart, where there's like you have your normal levels where it's kind of like the circular level design that you see in Ratchet and Clank 1, where you have like you land on a planet, there's like three paths, and each path, when you get to the end of it, it conveniently places you back at the beginning. They have that in Rift Apart, just like obviously they have that in this original game that we've been talking about. But then they also have those big, large open areas where you might have a jetpack to help you get around quickly or something like that. That was introduced in Into the Nexus on the PS3. That was like the biggest, I would say, change in the core game that they've made in quite some time, where like you actually have like these. It's not every world is the same level like design type. They had a little bit more variety to it, but yeah. So I know this is kind of like an overview of the whole series when we're only talking about the one game, but like the first game, like it's. And since you've played the most recent game too, it's crazy how much is like still kind of similar, even though there is what a Rift Apart coming out in 2021. So you're looking at that point, like, I mean, Jesus Christ, nearly 19 years. It was like 19 years
Yeah.
between when the first game came out and Rift Apart came out. And it is like, it's don't get me wrong, it's still very different, but it's amazing how much it still feels the same. Like it's still like Ratchet and Clank still feels like Ratchet and Clank no matter which version you're playing.
It is a very solid formula. I think I don't know if that what they were going for was what they did on the first game, but I think that they landed a formula that's just it's fun. It's just plain stupid fun. And having like the maps just circle back to like the same middle point so you can either keep exploring or go off to another planet to find something to come back, because it does have those little tiny Metroidvania aspects of, oh, you need a specific gadget to access this area, or you need a specific tool to access this area, or you need a specific weapon to kill these enemies. um it was very well done. I think they captured lightning in a bottle with that first game, and having played the latest one, I'm sure they just expanded and made it better. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it,
Well,
it's even playing it now in 2026. It feels fun. It feels modern. It has like slight tiny old game design issues, but the rest of it just feels great. Like it's aged well. It's aged very well.
mm-hmm. So, something I forgot to mention. I started and then I lost the thread earlier. Remember we were talking about the Rhino? I said you want to know an easy way to
Right.
get the Rhino.
Right.
There's the proper way to do it, or I should say the intended way, I should say. The intended way is that you're not supposed to get it on your first playthrough. You're supposed to go into challenge mode, which is like New Game Plus. You keep all your weapons. You don't have to do any of that type of stuff. But you can upgrade all your weapons to the gold version of them, which costs a lot of bolts, and also you have to have gold bolts as well. I'm trying to remember in later Ratchet and Clank games, when you go into New Game Plus, you get a bolt multiplier. So for the more enemies you take out without getting hit, the multiplier goes up. Or actually there's somewhere I think it's continuous. The multiplier goes up. So if you have a ×3 bolt multiplier, obviously if you got 1,000 bolts, now you got 3,000 bolts or whatever it may be. I don't know if that's in this first game. I can't remember, but realistically you're supposed to either grind it out and just farm bolts, or like hold off on buying other weapons in the hopes that you're saving up for the Rhino, which I think is like 100,000 bolts or something like that. It's stupid expensive.
Yeah, I didn't get that one. I also didn't get the extra health can because it was like 30,000 bolts, and I also didn't get the last weapon, which was the lightning gun. I think it's what it is.
Oh, that thing is really cool.
Yeah, I didn't get that one, so, which is maybe a
The Tesla
reason,
claw is what it's
yeah,
called.
which is probably one of the reasons why I had kind of a hard time with the final boss, which we haven't even talked about the story, which I think the
I
story's
mean, we
just
talked about
fucking
Ratchet being an asshole, but
right.
that's about it.
Um, so this CEO douchebag of a giant
Chairman Drek.
Drek, which is voiced by the same guy who voices Junior in the Cleveland show.
Oh, really? Okay.
He also voices Virgil's father in Static Shock. He's everywhere. Um,
Oh.
um,
Oh, Kevin Michael Richardson. Okay.
yes, he is a generational talent. That guy, he is everywhere. Um, so he wants to create a new planet for his species by taking chunks from other planets and just combining them together into this Frankenstein planet he's creating. Uh, Clank is a defect in his robot factory. Clank somehow
Mm-hmm.
escapes, finds Ratchet. He's like, "We got to stop him." And Ratchet's like, "Oh wait, I get to meet Quark," and that's how the adventure starts. Um, it just every single time you beat a stage, quote unquote beat, you get like this new little info bot, and it's just giving you like a little bit more of the story of Drek being like, "Oh, we're just taking the trees out of all of this planet." And then once the commercial's done and he thinks the camera stopped recording, he tells his robots, "Okay, just kill everything, break everything, blow up the planet. I don't care." And he's like, "Oh, the camera's still rolling." So it's kind of like that kind of humor, and it just keeps going on and on. And then there's like ads for uh, like the Morpho Ray, where you can transform into a robot so you can get into factories. And at the end of the
What?
thing, they're like, "Don't use this to get into our factories," which is it's great.
There is also a thing that Captain Quark ends up having to sell at the end of the game called the Gadgetron Crotchetizer or whatever it is.
He's like, "It's Quark. Wait, Steve testing."
I love it so much. And the once again, like the plot isn't anything groundbreaking. It's not meant to be. You're not meant to have this like big emotional character moment. You're just meant to care enough about the characters, which is once again why I like the whole back and forth, like the animosity between Ratchet and Clank I find a lot more engaging than in the remake. Which the remake is still a better game overall. But the plot overall is just, like you said, Chairman Drek just wants to rip apart other planets to build his own perfect planet. You got to stop him. That's pretty much it. And
Yeah,
I love though that Clank is a defect from Chairman Drek. That's a really cool, like it just, the defect comes back and defeats its evil master. Like it's just
right.
its evil creator, I should say. Like that's really cool. And it's a lot of it's just simple. And the big plot twist, spoiler alert once again for a 24-year-old
Yes,
game, nearly
24.
24-year-old game. um the thing is, the person they've been trying to reach, Captain Quark, the hero of the universe, turns out to be working with Chairman Drek. Bum, bum,
Yeah.
bum.
Yeah. And then another twist even further at the end, they're like, "Oh, you can put your planet somewhere else." He's like, "Well, I poisoned my first planet and people are already paying for this one. So once they move in, I'm going to poison it and then I'm going to do it all over again." Like, yeah, CEO bullshit. Create a problem and then sell the solution.
uh Keep politics out of my games. What are you talking? Like motherfuckers couldn't see like political stuff, like political like commentary if it slapped them in their fucking dick. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't get how like you could look at like play like Final Fantasy 7. Listen, that's a big leap from Ratchet and Clank to FF7. We'll stick with Ratchet and Clank. You can look at Ratchet and Clank, and I'm not saying it's like beating you over the head with some type of like anti-capitalist or like anti-corporation messaging, but that is the message. Like
Yeah.
big business created a problem and then sold the solution.
Yep.
Like that is you, I always find it just so weird that people get so bent out of shape, and it really what it
It's
is
like,
just like they just don't like their views to be challenged.
right? It's
It's as
like
simple as
this
that.
is what you've been consuming since you've been a child. Why are you having issues with it now?
It's wild.
Um,
But yeah. So you do end up defeating obviously Quark and then Chairman Drek, and the Chairman Drek fight. I do remember being pretty challenging.
yeah,
It's been a minute
that's
since I've played it,
that's when I
but I
save
remember it being
stated.
pretty
I
challenging.
save stated the entire fight, and I think I beat it with one little
Mm.
orb of health left. Um, uh, I think it's a good boss fight, as in what you have to do, but I think it's too long.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I'm actually going to bring up the last. I'm going to bring up a long play of it just to watch the last little bit. But just to get a refresher of it, I should say. Yeah, like he's in that giant like mech suit, and he's like dropping like mines everywhere. It is really it's tough, man. It is a very tough fight because it takes so long to whittle down his health, and like you run out of ammo so quickly. They do have things that will like give you ammo back,
Yeah.
but it's slow to respawn at times, and if you miss, it's really frustrating. One of the big things they add in the next game too is the lock strafe mode, which essentially is just third person shooter controls. Like this didn't have third person shooter controls. You just kind of have to like aim in the general direction, like point ratchet in the general direction, and then like a target will appear on the enemy that if you shoot, it would go towards. And while that works fine, it is a little frustrating when you have a whole bunch of enemies and you're hoping to go after a specific one, but you can't focus on which one that you're actually trying to hit.
Yeah.
You so that's I'm not a fan of that. The later games fix that issue, but in their defense with this as well, they at the very least, like most of the time, like it doesn't feel like the enemies are. You don't feel at a disadvantage for the limitations of the controls, right? Like for
Yeah.
your lack of control, the lack of control you're given in being able to aim where you want to shoot, you don't feel like you're out of like you're lacking power. It's uh or sorry, you don't feel like you are out of control all the time. It doesn't ever feel too unfair, which I think is a testament to their design. Like I can't say exactly how they designed around it, but like the fact that it's not a constant nuisance. I'm not saying it's great, but it's the fact that it's not like a completely debilitating experience, or the fact that it doesn't ruin the entire game experience by you not being able to aim perfectly is a testament to their design. It's still not my favorite, but it's better than it has any right to be, given the context that you can't really have 100%. You can't choose with 100% like independence where you're aiming.
My I think my two biggest issues with the controls. The first one is that whenever you pause or anytime you need to back out of a menu, you have to hit triangle instead of
Hmm.
circle to back out. That's basically my biggest complaint. And the other one is that sometimes, very rarely, the camera doesn't do what you want it to do. Like if Ratchet
Hmm.
is too close to a wall and you want to spin the camera a certain way, it won't. You have to move away from the wall and then move it, which, whatever, it's old game limitations. But for
It's a
those to be my,
2002 PS2
yeah,
game, right? Like they're still figuring out 3D if you really think about it
yeah.
at this time. Like,
And for those to be my biggest complaints, they're really not complaints at all. Um,
yeah, I'm glad you like this. I was curious um what you would think of this, because I know, like, we were joking around with Naughty Dog and other stuff, but I was like curious because I know you and I have different tastes in games. I don't mean that as a passive aggressive dig. But I was just curious, like, would this hold up? Like, it holds up to me, but it's my favorite series. So I'm like,
yeah.
how do other people outside of my irrational fandom of the series, how do they view it? So
So
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
so far we're two and a half. We have two and a half games that we like because I half liked Golden Sun. I like I like the Agent Under Fire, and I like this one.
Oh yeah. I forgot. I was like, what was the other game? Like, oh yeah, the episode at the the time we're recording this, our episode on
Yeah,
Agent Under Fire for my show is already out.
yeah, that was such a good game. The episode was great too. Um, there's another thing that we haven't talked about that I forgot until I just looked it up. Um, so you were talking about the boss fights. I wanted to see what the boss fights were because I couldn't remember them. And I remember that there was a space boss fight where you're on a ship shooting up, basically playing an all range mode in Star Fox, but Ratchet and Clank. There's what, like two or three of those. I really wish there were more of those because those were a lot of fun.
There's starship battles with this.
Yeah, yeah. There's the one where you have to fight Captain Quark, where he's flying away in a ship. And the other one that I can remember is the one where you have to destroy the turrets on the spaceship so you can do the spacewalk.
Huh? Because I know what you're talking about in the later games. I don't remember this at all in this.
Oh, yeah, there is a third one. The third one is in the planet where the general is or whatever his name is, and he needs you to take out some ships or something. And I don't really remember much about that one, but
I
the
remember the turret missions. I don't remember I don't remember like Star Fox style like airship missions.
it's not linear. It's all range, so you have like a giant arena and you fly around in the ship in it.
Hmm.
There's like I think two or three of those. Those were a lot of fun. I feel like those were over way too quickly though.
You're gonna get if you like that, I think you're going to enjoy quite a bit the next game. Then that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Because I guess it's not too hard to glean. There's more of it in the next game. I'm still trying to find what you're talking about. I don't remember these sections at all. I just played it last year, literally less than a year ago. It was like in
Well,
March or April that I beat my
they're
replay of it.
super quick. Like the stages are super quick. Like if you know exactly what you're doing, you can beat them in maybe 2 minutes. So they're super quick. They're like a flash. So
Huh.
I didn't remember them until I saw that you fight Captain Quark in a spaceship.
Oh yes, I see it. I found it now. Yeah, I forgot all about these. How did I forget? Yeah. The Captain Quark thing. Oh my gosh, I don't even. How do I not remember this? I think I just beat Captain Quark on my first try, so it wasn't like that frustrating. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, they're super easy and they go super quick and they're fun. The problem is that they're fun. Oh yeah, the one with the general. So there's like these giant snakes flying around the city. You have to shoot the snakes, and while you're shooting them, you have like little ships just like come and sit on the corners of where you are and start shooting at you. So you have to take them all down while you're shooting the snake. That one was great. That one was a very fun level.
There's a lot of variety in this game. Consider like I think this is such a good balance of you have like the formula they've set out. They've picked that formula and they've stuck with that formula, but they sprinkle in these little extra things that still feel kind of like it's part of the same formula, just enough where it varies the gameplay up a lot. And I don't know, it's remarkably well paced. There's a lot of I don't know. I just love this series, dude. It's fun. It's funny. You can there is a theory that you can see like Ratchet and Clank's predecessors as like villains in the Spyro games. So it almost feels like there's like a I forget what it was. There's a big guy wielding a wrench and then a robot next to him, or I forget exactly what it was.
There's
And there
I saw
I don't know
I
if
know
that's
exactly
actually
what you're talking
true or
about.
not, but
I was watching a video by some Call Me Johnny where he was talking about Spyro 3, and he said that the Agent 9, which is the monkey with the blaster that you play as, is
mm-hmm.
literally just proto Ratchet.
Mm. I could see it, man. It just I don't know. I think the reason I brought it up is like you can kind of see how Naughty Dog not Naughty Dog, god damn it, Insomniac continues to evolve even as like the series, like as they change series and everything, like they grab ideas from their previous games. And I don't know, I just I know I'm really kind of like giving this game a lot of credit, but like I am just impressed at how solid it still feels considering it's 24 years old.
Yeah.
There's, with the exception of like controls and some quality of life stuff, I really feel like this game actually feels, I don't want to say modern, but it holds up at the very least.
Really? I want to say as long as you have a good controller to play it on, it's good. I was when I started playing it, I was dreading it. I had fun throughout the first stage. Then you get to the city and you'd have to do the Captain Quark challenge to get the slingshot. Uh, I saw it and I was like, I am not doing this shit, and I turned the game off. The next day, I turned it on, did, and I was like, I don't know what I was dreading, and it's because I remembered it from the Vita being so bad because those
Uh,
controls for that game. But it's good. It's
One
really
thing
good.
one thing we haven't touched on, and I feel like because I keep revolving around like just how impressed I am with the design, I want to talk about the visuals though, right?
Yes.
Like something that I really like about this game is that like this game is a PS2 ass looking game. Like it's very much clearly a PS2, but I will say its art direction is very strong.
Yeah.
Like the something that I really love about this series, and I won't say every like phenomenal series does this, but I do think there's an element. There's something to be said that the series that do this all seem to be pretty damn good. They have very strong, cohesive art direction. When you look at a Ratchet and Clank game, if you look at a like a landscape, a cityscape, or a level, you can tell it's a Ratchet and Clank level by how it looks, by how like the level design, not the level design, excuse me, but how the world looks and feels, the color palette they choose, the like the specific like visual designs of like even like fences and lampposts and enemy designs too. Like it's this like cartoon sci-fi with like a bit of Pixar thrown in and a I wouldn't say a bit of Ghibli. I don't think Ghibli, but it's very whimsical. It's almost like whimsical sci-fi
It's
is the best way I can describe it.
DreamWorks. Some DreamWorks in there too.
Maybe
You
Pixar
know,
and DreamWorks, you get
it,
them both.
it's like I did get this thought a lot while I was playing it, particularly because of the music and some of the instruments they use in the music. It kind of reminded me a lot of Futurama at
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah, I would say that's a very the humor too.
Yeah,
Like the humor is like it's not like Futurama is like an adult version of this in terms of the humor.
yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's kind of like it, it's a little bit more cutesy than Futurama is. But like I think sci-fi, whimsical sci-fi is a good way to describe like the visual identity of this. And the music I enjoy well enough. I've said before on my own show, I'm not great at talking about music. One of my hot takes when I did my Spyro the Dragon episode, just thinking of another Insomniac Games thing, and this music kind of reminds me of it. Like one of the things I heard about for years is how good the soundtrack to Spyro the Dragon is, because Stuart Copeland from I think the
Yeah,
Police, if I
yeah.
remember
The
correctly.
drummer from the Police. Yeah.
Yes,
Was he on all three games, or I know
I
definitely for the
don't.
first one, but I'm not sure about the other
Yes, I
two.
don't know about all three, but I remember playing the first one, and I was breaking my friend's heart. I'm like, I don't understand why everyone loves this soundtrack. It's not bad. I was very clear. Like, it's not like I listened to him like, oh, this sounds awful. I would never listen to this. It fit the game, but I just
It
never like.
doesn't stick.
I was. It doesn't stick, and it's kind of the same for this. Like, I think the soundtrack. It's definitely my fandom talking, so I'm gonna be very straight up with that, straight up and honest about that. But um, the it's like I can still hear you the dun 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 boom boom bap 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 or whatever. Like I can hear little bits of melodies with that, but it's not something I would go out of my way to listen to outside of the game, you know? And so like I don't know, whenever people tell me like, oh, the Spyro soundtrack is like one of the best soundtracks of all time, I'm like, is it? Is it really? It's like I'm sure like from like a music nerd's perspective, like, oh, look at all these time signatures and weird keys and all this other shit.
Rick would
I'm like,
definitely
yeah,
know.
but it does.
Rick Firestone would definitely know about it. Um,
I would have to ask him about that. But I just remember listening to it and just being like, I don't understand why this is so beloved. It's solid. It's fine. It's good. Like because it serves the purpose it's setting out to do,
right,
but I just don't get it. And so, kind of in a similar vein, but I like the music more because once again, this is my bias. It's
right.
my nostalgia. It's my favorite series. So that that's just my own take on it. But like Ratchet and Clank, as much as I enjoy the music more, I kind of have a similar vibe to it where I'm like, I can't like, I wouldn't be able to pick out like. I feel like I'd be able because I played the series so much. I'd be able to tell like if I heard a song that and I didn't know if it was a if you told me it was a video game song and I tried it out um and I feel like I'd be able to tell if it's a Ratchet and Clank song or not, but even with that said, I don't know if I could because it's just very kind of like atmospheric, and that's not a bad thing. Like just to be clear, I don't think just because I'm not necessarily a fan of it doesn't mean that it's bad. I think if you have a soundtrack that reinforces the vibe and the aesthetic and the atmosphere of the game that you're making, then you're making a good soundtrack. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be this catchy melody like I love the Uncharted games. I can hear the melody of the Uncharted games in my head, but not every game needs that. It doesn't
Yeah.
warrant a hook. This and most of the stuff in this game, I don't think really it doesn't need to have some type of catchy chip tune or strong melody. It's going for a vibe and it fits the vibe of this whimsical sci-fi as I've been describing it.
Like the closest thing I could describe it to would be like the I don't know what instrument it is. The in Futurama when you hear the intro and it's getting towards the end and you hear the do 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 do. That instrument is heard a lot throughout the soundtrack of Ratchet and Clank. So that's why it reminded me
Mm.
of Futurama, but I can't remember any song. Um, Chrono Trigger is one of the greatest games of all time. I can barely remember the battle theme.
Well, I think that's a you problem because I
Yeah,
that soundtrack is
I
like I can hear I hear very distinct melodies in that like that
uh,
soundtrack sticks out to me.
the only I've played a bunch of Kirby games, and when I talked about Planet Robobot with Andre and Aaron on Superpod, the only thing that I could remember was Gourmet Race. Gourmet Race, that's it, because it's in every single Kirby game. Now,
Mm.
Persona 5, all of the songs, Persona 3 Reload, all of the songs, Final Fantasy 7, the battle theme. Uh, it's very specific songs that like click and they get stuck in my head. I I know how to play drums. I can't compose a song on drums. And listening to music, I enjoy it. I don't remember it unless it's like something insanely memorable. Um,
Mm.
but I did want to touch on the visuals. You did say that the visuals were specific to this game. Um, I played this game on the Steam Deck, so I was able to put it in 14 by 9. So everything was stretched. It still looked great. I put it on 3x the resolution, so I think it's like 19p whatever by whatever. So it was
Mm.
super clear, super smooth. Um, I did notice that some of the textures on the walls would kind of like stretch when you got really close to them and move the camera in a certain way that the game didn't like. Still, it was fine.
But that also could be a symptom of how you're like stretching it on a
Right.
higher like in a way it wasn't meant to be
Yeah.
shown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is fine. But the one thing that's really surprised me, and it was in the city stage, the stage. the first stage after you leave Ratchet's homeworld,
Hmm.
I tried to see if I could find anywhere where the city had seams where you could see it like connecting, like where you could see like the devs really didn't want you to see this, so they didn't really like finish this part, or like there was something weird about the skybox. I couldn't find anything. I spent a good 10 to 15 minutes just looking at corners, like trying to see far away into the city, and it was just completely well detailed and built. Like I couldn't find any seams or anything that looked wrong or out of place. And throughout all the other stages, same thing. There was nowhere where you would go and just see that just beyond where you can actually see there's a giant pit leading into nothingness. Everything is it's like meticulously done. I found that super crazy, but particularly in that city because you have like cars flying everywhere, buildings all over the place. Like it's crazy that they were able to put that much detail into a game that was 2 years into the PlayStation 2's lifespan.
Also, like the animations are really
Yes,
good.
they are.
Like watching Ratchet like run around and stuff like that. Like his hips sway when he runs a little bit. It's kind of funny to see.
Oh, when you're
Um,
wearing the magnet boots and you try to jump, how he stretches and shrinks
yep,
back down. It's great. It's great animation.
they did a phenomenal job with that. Like, also when like Clank and all his different things, like how like when you get the helipack and you can do the extra high jump, Ratchet kind of like swoops a little bit and goes up with it. It's just really cool stuff like that all around. Like it's a really like everything about the game is just like it fires on all cylinders. The music is good. Once again, I know I was giving shit about it and Spyro because I can't remember it, but like, once again, just to reiterate, just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that it's not good. It just doesn't mean that like I don't know. To me, when I look once again, when I look for a soundtrack, like, can I remember? Like, could I pick that song out as a song from the game? And I wouldn't be able to necessarily tell a difference between some of these. Like, it, like I don't know, unless I played it 1,000 times. But like, I don't know. I should be able to listen to it like 2 or 3 times and be able to be like, oh, that's that. You know, that's what that is. I don't know. But like the music fits the game. That's why it's good. To bring it back to what I was saying, the music fits the game, which is why it's a good soundtrack. The visuals are fantastic, especially for an early PS2 game, and they only get better. The art direction is just absolutely fantastic anyway. Like the color palette choices, the overall like visual designs of everything is great. And then just the gameplay, like it fires on all cylinders. Like the gameplay still holds up. The weapons are all varied and interesting, and I keep fucking losing. Maybe I've undiagnosed ADHD or whatever. So when we're talking about the weapons, I keep wanting to say how you can get the Rhino an easy way, and I lost track of it after I said the proper way was doing the New Game Plus, or probably the intended route, I should say. The other way you can do it, while I'm thinking of weapons, you get the Taunter, which is the little thing that like taunts enemies nearby.
Right.
If you shoot the taunter at boxes, it breaks the box. So you can like run around and shoot the taunter at things, and it'll just break boxes like AoE style, which makes it a lot easier if you don't want to hit them with the wrench. They're in Blackwater City, the second race, the Skid McMarks race, where all the slimes have taken over. If you there's a way to glitch onto the racetrack without actually entering the race, because the racetrack in the geometry of the world is actually below the level. Like they just transport you down there, like it's already rendered, but down below the entire city. So there is a way to get out of bounds, and you can then like hover down to the racetrack and literally Ratchet off this hover bike will just run on the racetrack. There's no race happening. Nothing can get you. The slimes don't even hurt you that are on the racetrack or anything like that. You run to a section where you can only do this like once, I want to say. Depending on the version, if you're playing the PS3 HD remake, you can only do this a certain like either one time or something. I forget the exact. There's some logistics to it. I forget exactly. Like the PS2 version, the PS3 version, you can only do it like you have to do it different ways, or you can only do it like at a certain moment, or and then it's gone forever, something like that. But when you get onto the racetrack, there is a section where you can stand below where you normally would be a jump, and there's like a giant pile of boxes, like dozens. And what happens is, as long as you can't see the boxes on your screen, they respawn. That's the way it works. So the moment that when you break boxes, they will disappear. But if you turn around and run away and then come back, and you've moved a good enough distance away, they will respawn because you can't see them, and you've cleared away the distance. Because you are standing at the very bottom, you've already reached the distance because they're up above you, and the taunter has a wide range of things. So you can press and hold the taunter button down, and the boxes will continuously respawn and break over and over and over and over and over again. So you could just tape the circle button down to attack or whatever what it is, and just fucking leave the controller, wait like 6 hours, and come back, and you get 100,000 bolts, and you get the Rhino.
Wow.
That's what I was trying to get at before, and I kept getting distracted.
That's great. That is crazy that somebody figured that out. That's insane.
When I was playing it, I was like, man, I do not want to do this. The other intended way, if you want to do it on the original, like on your base run, not on the New Game Plus, I should say, you can get a metal detector. You get a metal detector, which helps you find bolts, but I don't really enjoy doing that. I don't really enjoy running around a level just searching for fucking bolt drops. It's not my definition of fun.
Every time I would go to an area and there were enemies, I would kill them all and then just pull out the metal detector.
Hey, dude, that's the way you're supposed to get the Rhino, though. Like, you're supposed to do that in every single, like, no matter what, like, always use the metal detector so you can get bolts. It's the smartest way to do it.
Right. So, we are at an hour and almost 36. So let's go ahead and wrap up. Let me see.
All right.
Here. So Ratchet and Clank, in my personal score of the games that I've beaten this year, I gave it an 8 out of 10. This game was great, a bit tough, but I chalk it up to first game on an old console issues. I beat this a few years ago on the Vita and had a time with it. Having a comfortable controller and bigger screen really do make a massive difference with video games. I'm excited to play the rest of the series. I think I dabbled a little bit with the second one, but I didn't get too far because, again, Vita. But I am definitely going to play that at some point soon because I have an itch for Ratchet and Clank, and Ghost of Ryote is not scratching it.
It's a damn good series, man. I have 1,000 other games to play right now, and I will make time for this because also it's a game that I can play in front of my kid. That you have no idea how important that is.
Man.
One of the games I'm playing right now is Return to Castle Wolfenstein for my Punch a Nazi month.
Right.
You know, apropos of nothing. And that game's making me mad. I'll spare my thoughts for that for the episode when I eventually beat it. But I can't play that in front of my kid. I have to wait till after she's in bed and then stream it or whatnot. But I can't do that. Ratchet and Clank, I can play in front of my kid. It's cartoon violence. Yes, it's rated T for. I think it's E for everyone. Actually, it's not even teen. But like. Yeah, she can handle it. She plays Astrobots. She can handle Ratchet and Clank.
Man, Astrobot is so good.
It's really fucking good.
Astrobot is so freaking good. So, final thoughts on the game?
It kicks off my favorite series in a really good way. It sets a solid foundation. It is nowhere near the best game in the series, but it's also nowhere near the worst. I would say it's like a solid middle of the pack. Bottom middle, but like that doesn't mean it's actually bad. That's like saying if the best game in the series is an A+, this is like a B+, right? Like it's still like a good grade, but it's not in the A status. I think it's a phenomenal game. It sets so much of what I love about the series in motion, and I'm just so excited to revisit Going Commando, where it takes all the things I love about this game and fine tunes them and just makes them that much better, in my opinion. But this game is still fun. It's got a great variety of weapons. It just has a lot going for it. So yeah, I love this game. Highly, if for those who have never played a Ratchet and Clank game, I won't say this is the best entry to the series. I would say if you are someone who likes retro games, go for it. If you're someone who likes older PS2 games, I would even say start with the second one. But and then maybe go back to this as like a reference. But if you're used to newer games, if you're used to modern games, play the 2016 reimagining of it. It's really good, and it gets the same spirit of the original game for the most part. So yeah, that's my recommendation. It's a good fucking game. Play it. I love it.
That's yeah. I think that definitely, if you're curious about the series and want to see where it started, it's great. It's I've been having a hard time with Dragon Quest recently. I want to love Dragon Quest because I love Akira Toriyama. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he is probably the one of the biggest reasons why consoles and stuff exists. Um, and I want to love Dragon Quest because he had such a big hand in it. And I just love Dragon Ball Z too. Like and there's like really big elements from Dragon Quest that I really like. I like the whole fairy tale aspect of it, but then there's other things that I absolutely hate, like how slow it is to level up. Um, but I played Dragon Quest 8, didn't like it. Played the first one, thought it was good. I would still say that if you want to figure out what Dragon Quest is, ask around because I wouldn't know where to tell you to start, but I wouldn't tell you to start at the first one. With Ratchet and Clank, I would say start at the first one because I think it's great. It holds up. It really, really holds up. I have played other stuff from the era that does not. Ratchet and Clank is great.
I'm so happy you liked it, man. It's like I said, it's my favorite series. So whenever other people play it, I'm always like, "Oh, is my heart going to be hurt? It's fine if it is. I can take it. I'm a big boy, but is my heart going to be hurt?" So I'm glad my heart was not hurt. But more importantly, I'm glad you enjoyed your experience with this one.
Yeah, that I tell you, on the Vita, rough. On the Steam Deck, fantastic. And I'm guessing on the PlayStation 2, just as fun. So,
It holds up really well.
so yeah.
Holds up well on the PS2.
Um, Josh, tell me about Still Loading. Anything you want to plug at all? Just go ahead. It's your time.
Sure. So the Still Loading podcast I describe as a it's a video game. It's a video game grab bag podcast. It's kind of gets a little bit of everything. I do retrospective deep dives on individual games, which Chris has been on a few of them, specifically Golden Sun for backlog month last year. And then most recently, Agent Under Fire for my Road to First Light series that I'm doing in honor of to celebrate the new James Bond game coming out later this year. So yeah, I do individual like deep dives on individual games where I do a little bit of history research. I sprinkle a little bit of game history in there to add some context to our conversations. But then, I also do weirder ideas I also do interviews with people in the industry. I've interviewed voice actors. Apropos to our episode topic, I had David Kay, the voice of Clank, on my podcast 2 years ago or so, and he was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I loved getting to chat with him, and he was just so much fun. He didn't have a lot of time, but he gave me an hour of his time, and I can't thank him enough for it. It was just so kind of him. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I do interviews with voice actors and composers and game designers and animators. We were talking about animation. I've had who I now can call a friend, my buddy Gabe Sworon, who was the executive producer of the Animaniacs reboot a couple years ago, and then he also worked on the Kung Fu Panda TV series and stuff like that. So I interview with people of all kinds of stuff that's adjacent to video games and straight directly related to video games. Then I do weird ideas like the Final Fantasy Fantasy Draft, which is what happens when Final Fantasy and fantasy sports mix, but you don't need to know anything about fantasy sports to enjoy it. So, and you don't really need to know about Final Fantasy. It's just fun to listen to a bunch of people argue with each other about who gets what. It's a great time. But yeah, that's the Still Loading podcast. You can find it wherever podcasts are found. And if you are on social media, I'm on Blue Sky at stillloadingpodcast.com, on Instagram at stillloadingpod, and on Twitch at Still Loading Pod, and those are the places you could probably find me the best.
All right, I'll link everything in the show notes so you can find everything. Hopefully, I remember how to hyperlink stuff. If not, you can just copy paste. Show us a great time, fun stuff. Streams are always great. Josh plays. Think I watched your Hitman playthrough, some of it. That was fun, and I watched the Parasite Eve one, which I
That game's
really
a wild ride.
I really need to play that game because I didn't get too far into it. And that was a great time on Twitch. Um, so everything's going to be linked in the show notes. As for me, if you're a Patreon supporter, thank you so much for supporting us. Your donation keeps the lights on the show, and you keep our backlog of episodes live for people to find online. Um, Consoles and stuff, we have a big show on February 28th at 11 a.m. We have a bunch of 3DS stuff. We have a 3DS inbox starting at $1, a Nintendo Switch, cables, dock, paddles, dog ears, everything starting at $1, a bunch of sealed 3DS, Switch, and PS4 games, PS5 games, all going up starting at $1. We have 100 items. So swing by. Link is going to be also in the show notes, or you can just go to consoleandstuff.com. That's console N, the letter N, stuff.com. And you can find all our links there. If you have any games you're looking to sell, hit me up. I'm always looking specifically if it's Nintendo games. So we are also a part of the SuperPod network. I got to get that written down so that I can say that properly. So go to superpod.com, find more shows like GNC, a 3DO experience, of course, Super Ghost, Bar Silence, which is fantastic. We all love Jameson here. And thank you all so much for listening. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone, Josh?
Goodbye or goodbye. Hey,
Well,
that's a joke only for Chris.
Kermit was here earlier. Bye, everyone.